Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're going to talk about a journey that I think almost every single trader takes. It's this evolution from hunting for that one perfect magic bullet indicator all the way to this wild new frontier, asking an AI to literally build a profitable trading strategy from the ground up. Okay, let's get into it. This is the question that really starts it all, isn't it? If you've spent any time at all looking at trading stuff online, you've seen the titles. The one indicator with a 90% win rate, or this tool gives you perfect signals. It's this constant search for a simple fix to the crazy chaos of the markets. But does a tool like that actually exist? So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at why that idea of a single magic indicator is so appealing. Then, we'll get into a much more professional foundation, key price levels. From there, we'll see how you can combine tools into a real system. And finally, we're going to unleash an AI and see what it can do before wrapping it all up with what really matters most, data over hype. All right, first up, let's talk about that search for the holy grail. This is probably the most common trap for new traders. It's this belief, and it's fueled by tons of videos and forum posts, that somewhere out there, a single, perfect tool exists that's going to solve all your trading problems. And it makes sense why people start here. You want to find an edge, right? A shortcut. But the market is this incredibly complex system with literally millions of people making decisions all at once. The idea that one simple lagging indicator can perfectly predict every twist and turn is, well, it's just not realistic. It's kind of like trying to explore a huge city with only a compass. It's helpful, sure, but you are missing the rest of the map. Okay, so if the magic bullet indicator doesn't exist, what's next? Well, you move on to a foundational concept that's behind a lot of successful trading. Instead of hunting for a magic signal, professionals focus on significant price zones. These are the areas on the chart where the market psychology really becomes visible. And that brings us to the absolute bread and butter of technical analysis, support and resistance. Just think of them as old battlegrounds on the chart between buyers and sellers. Support is a price level where buyers have shown up again and again, creating a kind of floor. And resistance? That's the opposite. It's a ceiling where sellers tend to take control. These are the key spots traders are watching for potential turns in the market. Now, drawing these levels by hand, well, it can be tricky and subjective. You find yourself asking, did I draw this line the right spot? And that's where technology can really help out. A lot of modern indicators are actually designed to automatically find these important swing highs and lows using algorithms. This saves a ton of time, and maybe more importantly, it takes a lot of that subjective guesswork out of your analysis. So we've got our foundational levels figured out, but even a perfect indicator for support and resistance isn't a full trading plan. It tells you where something might happen, but it doesn't tell you what to do about it. This brings us to probably the most important step up in a trader's journey, moving away from relying on one tool and starting to build a complete system. I love this quote. It really just cuts right to the heart of it. An indicator is just a single piece of information. A strategy, though, that's a whole set of rules that tells you exactly what to do with that information, when to get in, when to get out, and how to manage your risk. You could have the best tool in the world, but without a clear plan, it's pretty much useless. So, how do you actually build a strategy? Well, it usually involves layering a few indicators, where each one has a very specific job. First, you need some kind of trend filter. Are we generally moving up, or are we moving down? Second, you need a confirmation tool for your entry. Is right now the exact moment to get in? And third, and this is absolutely critical, you need a way to manage your risk. You have to define exactly where you're getting out, whether you're right or wrong.
Let's make this real. For example, in one system, you might use an indicator called a range filter to decide if the market's in a clear uptrend. Okay, trend confirmed. Next, an oscillator, something like the LMO, could help you pinpoint a good entry when the price pulls back for a moment. And finally, ATR bands, which measure volatility, can set your stop loss. So if the market's crazy, your stop loss is wider. If it's calm, it's tighter. See? Each tool has its own job, and they all work together.
Okay, so we've gone from a single tool to a multi-tool system built by a person. But what's the next step? What's the next frontier here? What if you could take this entire process and just hand it over to an AI? What if you could give an artificial intelligence a huge library of tools and just ask it to build the most profitable strategy for you? Well, that's exactly what one researcher did. They took a powerful AI, something like ChatGPT, and they gave it access to a massive toolbox. We're talking over 100 free indicators from TradingView. And the really important part is the question wasn't just find the best indicator. No, it was build a complete rules-based trading system from all of these parts. And just look at what it came up with. The AI didn't just pick one tool. It actually built a sophisticated multi-layered system, pretty much just like a human strategist would. It chose one indicator called MAVI-LIM-W to define the main trend. Then it added 2 more layers just for confirmation, that range filter we mentioned, plus another tool called the Cyberpunk Analyzer. And on top of all that, it even added a basic volume indicator to make sure there was enough action in the market to justify a trade. It's a remarkably logical system. And the result of all this? When this AI design strategy was back-tested on historical Bitcoin data, the performance was, it was just staggering. It showed a theoretical return of over 7,600%. That is a truly mind-blowing number, and it really shows you the raw power of AI when you apply it to complex pattern recognition. Whoa. Okay, now before you run off and ask an AI to manage your life savings, let's take a deep breath and get back to reality. That huge number is exciting, for sure, but it leads us to the most important lesson of this entire journey. You have to prioritize data over hype, always. Right, we have to put this into perspective. First, the AI didn't just invent this out of thin air. It was given a specific framework to work within. And that huge return, that's from a backtest. A backtest is just a simulation on past data. It is never, ever a guarantee of what will happen in the future. The quality of that past data is everything. The real takeaway here is that even with a powerful AI, you absolutely need a rigorous, data-driven testing process. And what does rigorous testing even mean? Well, a huge part of it is comparing your strategy to a simple benchmark. For example, did your super fancy, multi-indicator, AI-built system actually do better than if you had just bought Bitcoin and held on to it for that whole time? Because if it didn't, then all that complexity didn't actually add any value. The benchmark is the ultimate reality check. So we've kind of come full circle. We started with this hunt for a magic bullet, a single tool that would solve everything. But what we've learned is that the real power doesn't come from any single indicator. Doesn't matter if it's picked by a person or an AI. The power comes from having a complete, testable, rules-based system and having the discipline to actually follow it. And this all leaves us with a really fascinating question, right? What is the future of trading? Is it going to be dominated by human analysts who have this incredible intuition for the market? Or will it be fully automated AI systems just crunching data 24/7? My guess is that the future really belongs to the hybrid approach. The skilled human strategist who knows how to use AI as an incredibly powerful tool, someone who knows how to ask it the right questions to find that edge, it's definitely something to think about. Thanks for watching.